Hello, everybody. We're back. Truth or Skepticism. It's Wednesday. It's February 28th. All right, Mr. Radigan, your show today.
No, first, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. How do you feel about the whole leap year? Does the 29th bother you? And if I just don't know why they put the 29th in February for all the months. Like, why don't they put 29th in July? Why isn't there July 32nd?
I don't know any of that stuff, except I do know that I love leap year. It's the only time when employers, you know, we actually get them for an extra day. All the little bastards that you know, beg, borrow, steal, and cheat on us. They finally, you know, we get them for a day. They don't get paid. It's perfect.
This from the son of one of America's most famous labor attorneys.
I wouldn't say that. But
loading in public about exploiting.
Yes, exploiting the worker.
The worker for an extra day to pick up their nickels.
Oh, no. The worker gets me on 249 out of 250 days a year.
Well, you feel like the worker gets you coming and going, huh?
Once every, what is it, every 3 years? How many years is a leap year?
Once every 4 years.
Once every 4 years, I get them for one day.
All right. Listen, we're not going to tell the family.
No. Listen, I tell them right to their face. I tell them, listen, you little bastards, you get me 249 days, 250 days a year for 3 years. One time in 4 years, I get you guys.
For a day. Get over it.
Yeah, just get over it.
All right, so to the subject at hand.
Okay.
It's somewhat philosophical, somewhat esoteric. The risk is it becomes intangible, which is useless, but I like it because I think it's quite tangible. So I'm going to do this sort of like a Matlock interrogation, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So if it starts with I want to establish, if I can, a couple of shared assumptions. The first would be, if you were to look at best-in-class government infrastructure for healthcare, education, transportation, power generation, basic infrastructure. I'll leave it at that. Transportation, education, that. And you were to look at the best in class wherever that is in the world. Maybe it's in Japan for this. Maybe it's in Sweden for that. Maybe it's in wherever. And then you were to compare best in class for any category, transportation, to the existing infrastructure in the United States. How do you think the United States holds up?
Existing infrastructure?
Yeah, like our healthcare system, our efficiency ratios, our educational system, our math scores, our airports, our transportation system, relative to sort of modern best in class. How far behind do you think we are?
There's 190 countries. We're ahead of Afghanistan.
I mean, listen, I'm not being...
I mean,
I can give you the answers. I put this is the most important thing in my book.
But I mean, I don't understand the context. What are we talking about?
I'm asking for a general assumption that says relative to best in class infrastructure, relative to what exists at the airports and other nation states or educational systems or healthcare systems, that we're around the middle of the pack on a good day, with the exception of obvious things like finance and innovation and entertainment. But and military. So if you take military, I'm not going to meddle with that. I'm talking about roads, airports, healthcare, and education primarily.
Yeah, I mean, it's not where we shine.
Let me make it simple. Do you believe we are lagging in any way in those areas relative to what is possible?
Okay, so I can give you the controversial answer, which I think is what you want from me. No, I just want you to say yes, and I want to continue. But if we were going to stop here, we can. Oh, Yes to what? Yes, we're in the middle of the
Our
pack.
infrastructure lags the potential infrastructure we could or should have, and that is glaringly obvious when in comparison to other infrastructure.
Okay, I'm going to relate this to something that you and I can both appreciate. You and I could both be, just as an example, as a hypothetical, we could be better husbands if we wanted to be, but we have focus on other things. Does that make sense?
I don't know. I can't. I mean, that's a reference I don't understand.
Okay, I will explain. The U.S., we could be better at everything you just mentioned, infrastructure-wise, but our focus is on other things.
Okay, I know, but I'm not here to.
I know what you're trying to say, though. But like, if you want a country to focus on infrastructure, then move to Germany or Switzerland.
No, but this is a different discussion.
Okay.
Come to our infrastructure lags, and your defensiveness and attempted distraction, and to change the object of discussion, all your evasive verbal tactics in this dialogue, all just indicate the obviousness of the lag in American infrastructure, which goes without saying. Do you believe that doing large things in the month of the moon landing here requires coherent confidence? That requires in order to have how do I say this? It requires a coherent vision that can enroll millions of people in an idea, i.e., the Eisenhower highway system, the power grid, a different healthcare system, a different educational system, or at least a process to do it, or an airport, system, whatever it is. That doing those things requires wide coalitions, I guess would be the simplest true or false. It's better, at least. It's more likely and better with wide coalitions at scale.
Yeah.
I agree. And that the key to wide coalitions is confidence in the system that has the microphone to cast the vision.
Okay. I'm not sure where you're going. I don't understand the point, but go, yeah.
So if I don't have confidence in the system,
yeah,
and I don't have coherent vision that can enroll many,
yeah,
then I cannot do large scale projects that would address the sort of issues that we're sort of chattering about.
Oh God. Yeah.
Was that a prayer?
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm just agreeing with you so you can get to your point.
I thought you were a Hanukkah guy, and all of a sudden you're running an "Oh God" at me.
No, I'm just trying to. I want you to get to your point. I'm trying to push you forward.
I'm getting there. Is the lack of confidence in the process as it is now in the U.S. government worth the headwind of the lagging infrastructure that I would argue is a result of the lack of confidence in the political process?
No.
No what?
No, that's not the reason.
Because you're saying the reason is the focus is elsewhere, which I get.
Yeah, the reason we are not.
You can walk and chew gum.
Yeah, you can.
It's a big country. We got a lot of money.
You can, but this is where it's very typically taken out of context. This is a very typical political argument, but it's not to me a true. It doesn't have legs in my world because it's the old thing. Listen, it's all a function of priorities. It's like building technology. It's all a function of priorities. I do not accept.
Is it? I just disagree with you that it's a function of priority.
I'm sorry that you.
I think it's a function of process and integrity of process.
I mean, it's
to address any priority.
I understand why you think that.
I believe our priorities are corrupted.
No. True capitalism in a true free market like we have And whatever you want to say about our own, whatever you want to say about our democracy, and all our political issues, that's, much of that is true. But the reality of our free markets and the way capitalism works in America is that things get prioritized. And we have never been a country that prioritizes things like infrastructure, like healthcare.
Not true. That's patently not true.
We do not prioritize, I will say, education, infrastructure, healthcare. They have never been priorities here.
Yeah. So what? Then what? Have you ever heard of Dwight Eisenhower?
Yes. Yeah, I understand. No, they're not priorities here. We prioritize. We prioritize our economy. That's why this country is where it is. Listen, I'm going to give you a football analogy. You're going to freaking hate it.
Your economy is a function of your infrastructure, especially when the rate of change is high.
I will say it a different way. We prioritize success. And that is how our free markets work. We prioritize success at the expense of other things. My football analogy, I'm going to give it to you. This is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. The reason that they are as good as they are, not just because they have a great quarterback, is because they spend all their money and all their draft picks on offensive players. And they don't build their infrastructure. They don't build their offensive and defensive lines. They don't care. They just buy wide receivers, quarterbacks, players that impact the game, that make a difference offensively. Our economy works the same way as the Kansas City Chiefs. We don't build infrastructure. That's secondary to us. Everything. I know you hate this. Everybody hates this.
But that's not that I hate this. Have you seen the Brooklyn Bridge? Have you seen the Chicago
I get it. I've seen all that stuff. I get it.
On the river?
Yeah, we have beautiful buildings too. I got it. We care. There are some people that care about. We care about certain things. I get it.
Have you been to the new airport in Detroit, by the way? Which they proves we can make modern airports.
Yes, I have. It's a beautiful airport. Yes.
And compare that to the New York or LA airports. Or, I'm talking about basic functionality.
I get it, Dylan. We're a big country with lots of money. We have.
And there's a point where the dysfunction of basic functionality.
I know what you're trying. I don't even know where you're trying to go with this.
Liability to economic functionality.
I got it. But all I'm saying is,
and when you have no confidence in the political leadership, it's impossible for good ideas or bad ideas to garner any support, because you live in a room with broken glass, and no one can create anything. It's just a glass fight.
Except what?
No one wants to go.
Except what? No one can create anything except what? There's one thing we create.
War?
Value. We create money. We create.
No, not at the government level.
It's not about the government level. All governments do is provide the opportunity to allow capitalism to work.
That's true, because the government manages budgets for healthcare, education, and transportation and infrastructure.
I understand.
In every country on earth. Even there's no country, the most rapacious free market, Amsterdam in 1310 on the dock with a chicken and a bag of beans.
Okay, listen, I'm just disagreeing with you.
No tax, man.
If the whole focus of this country was just to be really good at creating,
but that's a false, again, verbal manipulation. Because you're creating a false choice. You're saying, well,
I'm not creating a false choice. I'm telling you.
You're saying there is a choice, and I'm saying there isn't a choice. I'm saying there's a choice to do all of the above. And the way to do all of the above, just to get to my point, since you're being difficult today, is the way to restore confidence in order to restore basic infrastructure is to restore at least the appearance in the U.S. government of what a word that you may have heard in your childhood called propriety. I'm being serious.
Okay.
And so there's something in polite society, which is what we would hope Congress might be, that's called the appearance of propriety. And then in the more unwanted category, there's the appearance of impropriety.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason the appearance of impropriety is managed and legislated and regulated is because the perceived confidence in, for instance, a bank or a financial journalism institution or whatever creates a situation where, of course, who cares if people that work at Bloomberg or CNBC or Goldman Sachs or whatever trade on Tasty or whatever. And of course, there's no reason let them trade. It'd be better off if everybody traded, because then somebody would know something. I agree with you, with the exception of the fact that if your business is based on the confidence that you're neutral, which again, your point will be that's a lie. But if it is that, then you're invested in maintaining the appearance of propriety in order to ensure engagement and confidence in the system, and that we've suffered a massive degradation in propriety. We all know, whoever you blame, from Kennedy to Nixon to Clinton to Bush to Obama to Trump, everybody's got a villain. But at the end, all of it's a degradation in propriety. And meanwhile, we've got Nancy Pelosi buying NVIDIA call options, which maybe she knows something, maybe she doesn't.
Really? Really? Do you really? Is that where you're going with this thing? Nancy Pelosi's call options. She bought a 20 lot of leap calls.
Finished. I'm not. You will have your time. There's enough time.
Oh my God.
And so when she's got cover-up guys like you out in public excusing her, saying that it creates more engagement, nobody knows anything, material non-public, blah, blah, blah. And I accept, yes, I agree with you, sir. Uncontested. I give you no resistance. But I say to you through a different door that when you have a loss of confidence, you can't organize coalitions and you can't deal with basic infrastructure, and you lose confidence when you lose the appearance of propriety, which allowing Congress people to diddle around with options in any way when they don't let reporters at there's all these idiotic rules at these news agencies and banks that are stupid. I agree. But they're done for the appearance of impropriety, not really for insider trading. And meanwhile, we're going to tolerate this idiocy when even if she doesn't know anything, it looks horrendous and it reduces confidence in the government. That is my concern.
Okay, I have to chuckle at this because of all the things, of all the crazy things like that you can concoct, and it's not just you; it's just like everybody else that thinks this way. Because I know there's other people.
Oh, you're saying there's all the concocting that goes on out there?
There's all these people that are absolutely lost their mind. I mean, with all the crap that goes on and all the grifting and all the unethical stuff, your whole argument on our failures our failures in infrastructure are wrapped around Nancy Pelosi buying a 20 lot of NVIDIA leaps 2 years out on a $2 trillion stock.
Damn straight.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. I'm going to tell you.
You just made every Trump supporter look smart.
I'm going to ignore that personal assault and continue on this dispute and tell you why you're wrong.
Okay.
Because the issue that you're failing to consider is how the human mind and leadership and confidence works, which is what we're talking about. We're talking about a psychological condition of mankind here. Okay, this is not. There's a loss of confidence. They shot Kennedy.
I understand what loss of confidence is.
Iran-Contra.
There's a big difference between shooting Kennedy, okay?
Clinton is a whore. You know, whatever. Everybody's got a problem. I forget. 9/11. It never ends, okay? It's a mess. Hanging Chad. It's a mess, okay? No one believes. It's like New York in like the 70s or even the early 90s. You're like, just don't go. Like, I'm not going. Like that's Congress is like Central Park and like, pre-Giuliani, in the squeegee days. Okay. And what did Giuliani do? Did he come in and be like, oh, we're going to do all these big things and it's a corruption everywhere. Who cares? Or did he say broken windows? No broken windows in any buildings, one rule. And with that one rule, I will exert now a regime that will do lists of rules to restore integrity and civility to our lives. And I think if we take Nancy Pelosi and her stupid call options, even if she doesn't have any inside information, just the fact that it's a political topic, the fact that they're risking the confidence of the government to indulge this idiocy is beyond foolish to me. It is
foolish to you, but your argument is
so high, and there's so much opportunity.
It's a very simplistic argument, and it's
fair enough. Of course it is. Of course it is. But I don't need you out here running cover for her.
I'm not running cover for her. Here's what I'm doing. I'm not running cover for her. I'm running cover for an entire foundation of free markets and capitalism and efficient markets. If every single member of Congress and or the Senate or every single person that steps foot in Washington under any circumstances was forced to buy or sell 100 shares of stock or one option or one future or anything else, okay, we would be infinitely better than every other country in the world.
Okay. Let's stop right here. This is brilliant. Take this to the people. Take this out. I hope the concoctors are listening right now.
Yeah.
So with this, the price is right. 2, you got door number A, prize number 1, and
yeah, sure.
Prize number 1 is anything goes. In fact, it's mandatory. You've won 2 trades a day, every day.
That's fine. For every 2 trades a day for a month. Then we wouldn't have people asking stupid questions.
Whatever you want. You'll make the prescription. You'll run the academy. You'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. It's fine. So now we have that world where they have access to material non-public.
No access. Nobody has access to.
Do.
Stop. Nobody has access to material non-public information.
The tax code. They know the subsidies.
Nobody has access to material non-public information. Even people in the company. Do you think anybody that works at NVIDIA?
I'm not talking about the company. I'm talking about in the government, the people that make tax codes.
Okay, if I gave you
permits, the issue contracts to buy AI computing for the DoD.
If I gave you every economic report,
non-public.
If I gave you, if I gave every member of Congress and the Senate the ability to trade on every economic report the day before they came out,
that's not what I'm saying.
It wouldn't matter. They couldn't make a dime.
Agreed. I agree with you, but I'm not talking about economic reports. I'm talking about material non-public relative to government policy.
Oh my God.
Permit, etc.
Oh my God.
I'm saying the appearance of impropriety, even if you're right that it has no value. For sure, there's the appearance that they have access to material non-public because they legislate.
If you have access to material non-public information, then that is a crime, and you should not be able to trade on. But okay, that's no difference to me from a person in Congress, sitting person in Congress or the Senate, or somebody who's the CEO of some major corporation. Same exact thing. So to me, that's a ridiculous argument. I don't care.
I want to understand what is the similarity, because the distinction for me between the legislator and the CEO or the journalist or the trader or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Is the legislator uniquely has authority and insight into budget, the largest budget channel on earth, the government budget system, the largest tax bucket on earth, and the tax policy system.
Sure.
And the permitting and subsidies systems, all of which are surely some percentage of which constitutes material non-public. And let's assume that the Congress people have no access to it, don't know what to do with it, blah, 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 blah. Okay. It still creates the appearance of impropriety that it could be known. And as a result, precipitates a loss of confidence.
And therefore the roads aren't getting built. Oh my God.
And therefore, the LAX is a nightmare.
Therefore, LAX. Do you know I had to walk almost 2 freaking miles in Salt Lake City Airport the other day?
LAX is the worst airport on earth.
Okay,
Earth. I would rather land in Burma.
This is the most ridiculous discussion I've ever heard of. This is the discussion that they have it like.
I've touched a nerve. Your emotion shows your sensitivity, evasiveness, and use of triangulation, distraction, all these verbal techniques indicates the resonance because
it drives me crazy because you're too smart for this. This is something that I would expect to hear.
No. You're telling me appearance of impropriety and confidence in the government doesn't matter. Or you're saying that public trading by stocks, speculation by legislators is more valuable to let them speculate and learn than the costs of the loss of confidence or any sort of political scandal. Like
by a ratio of about 10 to 1, yes.
That's the question for the concoctor.
Yes, by a ratio of about 10x. Yes.
What's your logic? Because I could argue that the being, last in the world in math with IVF as a baby.
Okay, well that would be, you can't argue that. You see, because this is where your argument falls apart.
I landed at LAX and I can't get.
I know, but this is where your argument falls apart.
A bit of an issue.
This is where your argument falls apart. You want to know why?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, because you can choose to go where everybody's really good at math or everybody's really good at science or everybody's really good. I can give you 3 countries where the educational system is way better than the US: India, China, and Russia. Which one of those economies do you want to live in?
Right, but you're creating a false.
No, I'm not creating anything false. What I'm saying to you is,
I can't have both. Why can't I have both?
Because it's a function of priorities, like I've been saying all along. You can choose. You want to live in India? Go ahead.
We have unlimited money.
You want to live in China? Go ahead. You want to live in Russia? Go ahead. They have way better educational systems than we do.
Political manipulation.
You want to live in Sweden? They got a way better healthcare than us. Where do you want to go? You want to live in Germany? They got way better roads than us.
America, where the most innovative and forward-thinking and the home of Elon Musk.
That's right. That's right. So we put $2 trillion. We put $1, $2, and $3 and $4 trillion companies on the map. You know what they do? They pave freaking roads. You know what they do? They teach calculus to 3-year-olds.
Now you sound like a kid. You sound like a kid.
I'm not. I'm just telling you, it's a function of priorities. America can have the greatest roads in the world, and then we'll be a shit economy.
You're creating a false choice.
No, I'm not creating a false choice. I'm just explaining to you how priorities work.
Better roads make a better economy.
Listen, there's a reason.
Better airports make a better economy.
Do you want to know why Nancy Pelosi was one of the best?
Better healthcare makes a better economy.
Do you want to know why Nancy Pelosi was
better education makes a better economy?
Do you want to know why Nancy Pelosi was one of the best speakers of the House we've ever had?
Because she controlled all the votes and the money and everything.
Because she knew what the F she was doing. Because she trades.
So she can control the board.
She knew what she was doing because she trades. That's why she was so confident. That's why she could make decisions. That's why she had so much control. She actually knew how to make a damn decision. Listen, you're just making my argument for me, all right? The whole fact is her strength comes from...
Okay. So you're saying because Nancy Pelosi can make a good decision,
because she could make a decision, yes.
And that it's worth having education, healthcare, all the airports and all the roads 50 years behind the rest of the world, not to mention the power grid.
I'm not saying...
So that Nancy Pelosi can make a better decision.
I'm not saying... I'm not saying that it has to be all or nothing. And I'm not saying that this is the only way.
You are saying letting Nancy Pelosi make better decisions pays 10 times more dividends.
Yes, I am.
Than the dollar I pay at the airport or for the road or wherever. That's what you are saying.
Yeah. People love decision makers. That's it. Do you know why?
Okay,
you know why?
Great. So that's good for votes, but that's not good for flying to Los Angeles.
In this country, you get rewarded for being... The reason that Trump is the front runner of the Republican Party is because for everything else that he does, he can make a decision.
No. That's not correct. The reason things happen in this country is because there's been a total loss of confidence since the assassination of Kennedy. to the point where most people
That is,
disengaged.
you're so.
Let me finish. Let me finish. And whereas most people have disengaged completely by the time you get through Trump and W and Iran,
They're
ends.
disengaged because people are making the dumbass arguments.
And as a result of the disengagement and the loss of confidence due to the widespread lack of propriety, which we won't even get into because it never ends well beyond this little options.
Listen, you want great roads, move to Germany. You want great healthcare, move to Sweden. You want great education, move to Russia or move to China or move to India, okay? But if you actually want an opportunity in life, you better stay here in the U.S.
I mean, you have become quite the nationalist. I don't. Maybe that's
I'm not. It's not a nationalist thing. I just. You know what? You can't have everything. Is my whole point. I started off this whole thing.
But that's the whole. That's the core. That's the reason this is such a frustrating discussion because it's such a. You can have both of these things for sure. You're telling me that Elon Musk can land a spaceship in the middle of outer space with a light beam in front of the whole world.
Yeah.
And we can't improve the integrity of our government budgeting process to improve the efficiency and function of our basic infrastructure since it hasn't been updated since Dwight Eisenhower made a highway system, a healthcare system.
Exactly.
And a power grid system.
Exactly. Because so we function.
So it's been 75 years and we're so good. We made it. We also have
a lot
of advantages.
We enable him because we created a system where he can raise the capital to do that. And if he lived in Italy, okay, I don't know if you're in Italy right now, but if he lived in Italy, okay, his chances of doing that would be, 1 in a billion.
Right, but why can't Italy have a more robust, innovative economy? And why can't America have a more functioning government?
Because they're in Italy, they're more focused on making sure their roads are in good shape. Okay, that's why, because it doesn't freaking work. Because they're way more concerned about making sure their roads work, or or whatever they have. I don't know what other crazy stuff they do there. But my point is, this is where people just don't really understand.
If you just had less corruption and more confidence in the system, you would have a much better. You have a very efficient. I would say for every dollar the government spends on any idea. Healthcare, education, infrastructure, whatever. God help us, probably 1 to 5 cents has value for someone. 90 cents of that probably gets chewed up in nothing somewhere.
I kind of feel like you're making my point for me today because if we could get to a point where everybody could be as good as Nancy Pelosi, then in government, then we would actually have a functional government. We still have too many idiots. If we get to the point where we had everybody traded, so we had this really functional government where people
just the intellectual filter alone was worth the trouble.
Yeah, here I'll give you a trading floor example. So back in the day on the trading floor, we'd have 400 guys in a pit, and it actually worked. It had its own economy, its own ecosystem, its own economy. Everything worked perfect. Everything cleared. Everything worked. It was incredibly efficient. But if you did a one-on-one with all 400 guys that were standing in those pits, okay, you'd have 400 independent idiots that couldn't even sit in a room together and have a discussion. We couldn't get anything done in a million years. But you throw them all together into a free market, and all of a sudden everything works. It's the same thing in Washington. You have a situation where you have everybody with a completely different agenda because nobody knows how anything works or why it works. And because nobody understands the effectiveness of making decisions and the effectiveness of efficiency. As soon as you create that environment, which is kind of the direction Pelosi was going and others like her, then you end up with a system that actually works, and then you can get the other stuff done, like roads, like healthcare, that kind of stuff. You can't do it if that's the whole battle. If that's where the tug of war is over.
But I agree with you. But let's say you're levels of a wedding cake here, and I'm saying the foundational. I can't even get to level 2 where you are, which is how smart are you? Because I can't get out of the tar pit, the La Brea tar pit, the stinking, stench-ridden, garbage-laden basement swamp hole that is a catastrophic lack of confidence in the entire electoral administrative infrastructure that has resulted in such diminished participation that these little groups of 5 or 10%, there's not a lot of MAGA people.
No. This is the whole reason. This is the whole problem.
So because the whole thing, because the pool has been abandoned, because everybody's like, this place smells.
Yeah, because it's just because of
the people that are left are disproportionately perceived to have representation and influence because of their organized support.
Okay, you're just, all you're doing is making my case. My whole argument is, if you want the best people, you create a place with the best opportunity.
How do I invite the best people if I have no confidence? If I walk into the tar pit, they're just going to swamp you with corruption. Who needs it? That's why nobody runs.
No, that's not why nobody runs. Nobody runs because there's no opportunity. There's nothing there. There's nothing to gain. You end up with just idiots that are just trying to self-promote. There's nothing there. So if you really want to do something, you create an environment where you can actually do something, where somebody can, where somebody can create change, where somebody can build something. And you can't do that in the current environment because you and others like you have created this thing where, oh my God, it's bad for this person to actually do something.
No, because you and others like you are running around pretending that the people that are making the laws for taxes, subsidies, permits, budgets, allocations, etc., are the same as CEOs or traders or journalists when it comes to material non-public information, which is patently and obviously
no, that's not it. The whole problem is that people like you are sitting there focused on Nancy Pelosi buying a 20 lot of leaps in 2025, which are probably worth $8, and thinking, oh my God, this is, and that's where the focus is, as opposed to the focus being on on the true issues at hand. That's the whole problem.
No, but the only way
I had 10 people today sitting around here before this discussion, all arguing, oh my God, look at the crazy advantage. There's no advantage.
Okay. Are you a
bull markets make people into geniuses?
I've lost track of your generational status. Are you a grandfather?
No.
Well, you could be at some point.
Okay, it's possible. What's your point?
Well, forget the grandfather. I won't use that. That way I was trying for something there. But you're a team leader for many years, team organizationally, groups of people, all these companies, all these things. And when you have you ever had a situation with a group where there's been a loss of trust within the group and the team starts to be less productive as a result? Or if you have maybe a subordinate, somebody who works for you as a manager of a team where there's been a breakdown?
No, we kill those people. We have them killed right on the spot.
Never happened. Okay. Never. You won't. See, if this is it, you're using all that you listen.
We Kim Jong-un them. We do it Kim Jong-un. We Kim Jong-un them right on the spot. They're gone.
No, what is it? It's
we feed them to the dogs.
Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, sure, same thing.
The zoom punch in the face.
Yeah, same thing.
The remote face punch. But anyway, I'm not even going to continue because you're multiple. I just would like
because this argument, this is the most public argument in the world. It drives me crazy.
I want the concoctors to know that you've used evasion, distraction, personal attacks. I mean, the number of verbal manipulations you've had to use because of your defensiveness, because you can't answer the question, sir.
And it's not even remotely true. I've answered every question. This is an argument that I hate. It's the most public argument in the world.
But you're not answering my question on the confidence and the degradation of humanity.
Because people don't understand it. So you assume that because we have failures in healthcare, we have failures in the tax code, we have failures in our school system, we have failures in lots of different aspects of American infrastructure. Nobody's arguing that. But the reason for those failures is because we don't attract, because we don't allow the right people to get to Washington, and we don't create the right environment in Washington, which is about real decision making, which is really understanding how economies work.
You're saying make them all do math in order to even submit their application for the job.
It's more than just all do math, but I'm suggesting that
I'm saying, but I'm using that as a metaphor for buying and selling securities with a point of view and an understanding of time and risk and how much you actually don't know, and the ability to make decisions with that you in environments where you don't know, which is should be every.
We have the only economy in the world where you can do certain things. Everybody else can build roads. Okay, I just think you have to keep going back to that.
This is just, it's just not
I'm
true.
sorry, but that is the argument
that
here.
Is like the most insulting lie. It's just a straight up lie.
It's not. It's not, though. It's actually, that is what happens.
Build roads. Everyone else can build
Everybody
roads.
else can build roads. Everybody else can.
I'm not going to get into the rebuttal. I won't even bother with a list of things.
Okay.
What's your NVIDIA? What are you doing with NVIDIA?
I'm not telling you. I bought 20 leaps and 2 years out in 2025.
Nancy sent you a text message a couple months ago.
I actually just got a text message, but it's from Nikki Haley asking for $20.
I didn't get those.
I got a Nikki Haley text message, and I got somebody else. I don't even know who it is. Somebody running for U.S. Senate.
I don't know. They really get in there, man. Some kind of situation.
Yes. But let me see if Nikki Haley's text message has any inside information in it to me.
Listen, you're just a cover-up artist for some of the greatest thieves of a confidence in American future.
Not even. You're giving them so much.
Not since William Jennings Bryan in 1896 with the Corncob Revolution.
You know how ridiculous this argument is? Tim Cook, the day of earnings, I'm just going to end it here. Tim Cook,
but it's already a bad metaphor.
But anyway, the day Apple's next earnings cycle, the day before, with Tim Cook being the only person in the world that knows what Apple's going to do, I would let him do whatever the hell he wants, and I would bet even money he's going to be wrong on whatever happens to their stock.
And that's why the DOJ investigation into United Healthcare was irrelevant.
My God! Don't cherry pick one. Don't cherry pick one out of 4,000 earnings reports.
Was irrelevant. No, yeah, that's why that DOJ investigation yesterday to UNH was immaterial. Who would know? Who would know that?
Listen, there are criminals out there. There's a few fraudsters, but you can't indict the whole system.
I'm not about criminals. I'm talking about material, non-public, inside information.
I just gave you Tim Cook as an example.
No. And I just gave you the United Healthcare as an example.
I'll give you a better one just because to make it fair. Okay. I would say I would bet $1 million of my own money that I say to Jay Powell, as long as you're willing to bet $100,000, Jay Powell, of your own money, you can, whatever you're about to do with your next Fed announcement, I'll let you bet either way.
Don't care.
I'll bet $1 million he'll be wrong.
Sure, that's more difficult. I will give you that.
Oh my God! But it's easy for Nancy Pelosi to buy calls.
It's easy if I know that. Yeah, it's.
Oh my God! You are out of your mind. You are so fooled by a bull market. You and everybody else. You mistake a bull market for smarts.
When I can see the pipeline, when I can have visibility to the pipeline on policy, on budget, on permits, on logistics, holdups and subsidies.
No, you're crazy.
And expediting customs for special categories.
It's garbage. It's garbage. I'm not listening. Anyway, we're out of time. All right. We're out of time, sir.
The problem is people like, we should rename this discussion. The problem is people like you.
I'd be open to that. I'd be open to that. Okay.
The problem with people like you is it'd be like an improv. Anyway, have a great day.
Have a good week, Dylan. I'll see you next Wednesday. Can't wait.
All right, bye.
The content of this podcast is created, produced, and provided solely by tastylive Inc.